Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Nick from MMA Pixels here with Caleb Miller. How you doing, Caleb?
I'm great. I'm great. How are you?
I'm good, man. You're a 4-0 amateur. You got a fight coming up February 1st at Valor Fighting Challenge 55 against Ryan McCullough. Do you know anything about Ryan?
From what I have heard, he likes to wrestle. He wrestled in high school. That's about all that I've heard, which I'm comfortable pretty much anywhere. So, if he wants to wrestle, we'll wrestle. Uh, I like to beat people at their own game. So, you know, I think I'm a better wrestler, even if you have prior wrestling experience. I've only trained a little over 2 years, and seriously, everything I've learned has been from my gym. I don't have any wrestling experience. I don't have any grappling experience, like nothing like that. And I feel like I'm doing pretty well. I've been able to out out wrestle, out control pretty much everybody I've fought so far. So we're gonna go in with the same game plan and hopefully have a good fight.
Being an amateur, this is going to be your fifth fight. Do you do a lot of game planning for your opponent, or you just kind of focus on yourself?
My coach. So we used to do game plans. When I came to the gym, he started working with like the people who are used to doing game plans. They do game plans, and then this kind of like new wave of people we had come in. He said, "We're just gonna let you be you. So whatever you like to do is what we're gonna do." There's still, we have a number system. If he yells at me to move my right foot or move my right hand, I'm going to do it. So there's still a lot of listening, but there's not like a set, this is what we're going to go and do. It's more like feel it out. I think it works better for me. I like feeling the other person out, kind of myself, and being like, this is what I have to do. So if the game plan was to wrestle this guy, I don't want to go in and be like, I have to wrestle this guy. What if I can't take him down? What if he takes me down and then I'm like, oh well, I have to wrestle him. You're throwing your stand up out of the picture. You're throwing your ground game out of the picture. So I think just feeling the fight out. You know, Fighting should be a game of feel anyway. I don't think it should be like planned. You can't really plan for what happens in the cage. You kind of have an idea of what somebody likes to do, but at the same time, anything can happen. So that's what I like about the sport the most. Is it's unpredictable. So I don't really like game plans. I like just feeling it out.
You mentioned you didn't have any combat experience before MMA. When you joined the gym, did you know you wanted to fight?
Um, Kind of. I was like kind of on the edge about it. So I was a baseball player before. Um, I ended up I tore my UCL, and I was supposed to have Tommy John surgery, but I couldn't afford it, so I never had surgery on it. And that pretty much ended my career. I didn't go back to school after that. And for a while, I was like pretty lost at what I wanted to do. And then I was talking to my brother, and I was like, "Hey, I wanna like find a gym where I can box. I really wanted to like try to box because like I see people doing it on TV. I was like, it looks exciting. I want to do something where I can compete. I was like, what's better competition than fighting somebody?" And my brother's like, "Oh, you're crazy." I was like, "Oh no, it'll be fun." So, uh, one of his friends who at the time, he actually was at the gym that I go to now. Um, he was there before me and my brother, and he was like, "Hey, you should come try this place out. It's a MMA gym, kickboxing." He's like, it's kind of what you're looking for. So I went there and I talked to Joey, who was our.
Just one second. I think you got your finger on the
Oh,
speaker
sorry.
or on the microphone.
You hear me better now?
Yeah, yeah, there you go. Sorry about
Okay.
that.
Sorry. So I showed up at this gym and I was like, all right, I wanna be a boxer. And my coach Joey, he was like, we don't really have boxing. He's like, we do MMA here. And I was like, okay, well I'll try it. And literally, I signed a waiver, did a class, and I was like, this shit is awesome. So I kind of got hooked from the first day. I didn't necessarily I was like I said, I was on the edge about fighting. I was like, well, I can get hit with knees, I can get hit with elbows. It's a lot different than boxing. But literally, the more that I was there, the more that I trained, I just started loving it more and more. And then I decided, yeah, I want to do this. After like 3 months, I think I was begging my coach to give me a fight. I was like, please let me fight. And he was like, no, you're not ready yet. He's like, you got to wait. Usually it's like a year. They tell all of us when we come in, they're like, you have to be here at least a year before you can fight. And I think I was there for about 9 months. And Joey finally told me that I was going to fight. So I was pretty excited. My actual first opponent, I backed out. So I found out I had a fight. And then I found out on a Monday, and Wednesday of the same week, Joey's like, your guy backed out. So I was like, what the heck? I was so upset. I was like mad at the world for no reason. I don't even know. But 2 weeks later, I find out that they got me another opponent. So I was like, all right, it's time to get serious.
Right. Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, that happens a lot in the amateurs, even in the pros, people backing out, fights falling through. And then, I mean, it's understandable. You put in a lot of work and, you're ready to peak at that day, and then it's taken away from you. And you got to fight somebody, right?
Yeah, especially like my first fight was huge for me because I wanted to fight, so I wanted to fit in with everybody, and that's not really, our gym's not really like that. Everybody's kind of like open arms, but everybody that had been there before, they'd already fight, so they're like, oh yeah, when I get to fight again, this is what I'm gonna do, or this is what I'm gonna change from the last fight. And hearing people talk about that, I was like, man, I want to be able to do that too. I want to be able to be like, oh yeah, the next time I fight, I'm gonna do this. So I was just itching to get my first fight out of the way, so I felt more, I guess, more like everybody else. And I don't really know a different way to word it, because I don't want it to seem like people from our gym are like, oh, if you don't fight, you're not as important or anything like that. Even the fighters, we train with people who just go there. They want to, learn self-defense. They want to learn jiu-jitsu. They want to learn kickboxing. So we take care of everybody. It's not just you have to be a fighter to train here. We take care of everybody.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's natural with any sport. If you practice basketball, you're going to want to go out and play a game with somebody. So who are some of your training partners?
Really, I get to train with everybody that fights. A couple of my main training partners, Garrett Sharp, he's actually fighting on the same car as me. We're built pretty much the same, so it's good. It's good for me because I get to see kind of my style, and then if I ever fight somebody who's like me, I'll have experience with that body type. I'm not insanely tall. I'm 6 foot, but I have extremely long arms and legs, longer than I should have. And he's kind of built the same way as me, so it's for me to be able to see the reach is a big thing, because I may end up fighting somebody who has the same reach or longer reach than me. Another good person I train with, Dre Miley, he's fighting on the January card. He's fighting January 19th. He just started teaching wrestling classes at our gym. He's honestly probably the best fighter at our gym. If I had to, rate people, he knows the most. Technically, he's probably the most well-rounded person that's there. He's amazing, man. He lost one of his eyes when he was younger, so he has one eye, and still he's a pro fighter. I mean, he can fight literally anybody. He is insane. I hope you get to do an interview with him, because I promise you, man, he'll blow your mind. He knows so much about the sport too. He's taught me literally so much. Not that my coach hasn't taught me a lot. Obviously my coach has taught me the most, but of all the people that have been there, he's kind of Dre's really taken me under his wing and taught me a lot of things that he's been through. He's kind of showed me some things before they happen. We used to, or they used to do these things called gauntlets, like the week before your fight, and it's like a fresh person every minute, and they're like pro rounds, so it's 5-minute rounds, 5-minute rounds, and it's just a fresh person every minute that rotates, and they're literally built for you to lose. You're not supposed to do well in your gauntlets. And when I came to the gym, a lot of things were changing. They were trying to be safer about how they trained. And Dre was like, you have to go through this if you really want to fight. So I was one of the few people that have recently started training that got to go through one of those, and it sucked. It pushes you like to your breaking point, but you're more than ready by the time you get in the cage. If you survive the gauntlet, you're in good shape.
Is that like one time during training camp, or is that like?
Yeah, it's a one-time deal. So your training's pretty normal until about 2 weeks before. Obviously, depending on your weight, you start dieting anywhere from like 4 to 5 or 6 weeks out. But usually, like, you start your diet probably 4 weeks before. So the first 2 weeks training is normal. It's just you're just dieting. You're not losing as many calories yet. You're not losing water. Like 2 weeks before the fight, that's when it starts to get pretty tough. That's when you start having smaller portions on your food. You still get to drink water 2 weeks ahead. And then, like, let's see, when you're 2 weeks out, that would be your gauntlet week. So it'd be like the week before your fight and then actual fight week. So week before is gauntlet week. The week of is just like a relax, sweat, figure out if you're doing anything wrong in the technique. Like, you get to work on what you want to work on. So like the week of is really just a chill week. You're in the gym, but you're really just there to sweat. You've lost most of your calories by this point, and you're starting to lose water the week of the fight on Monday. So all you get on Monday is a gallon, and then it goes down a quarter of a gallon until weigh-ins. We don't do same-day weigh-ins. We do, like, weigh-ins on Friday, fights on Saturday. Or if we were going to fight on Friday, weigh-ins on Thursday, fight on Friday. So I like that. I like having that day to kind of, like, recover and refuel. I feel like if you do same-day weigh-ins, you're looking at 12 hours at the most maybe to refuel. And I feel like it takes your body longer than that to recover, especially if you have a lot of weight to cut. When you try to eat first, like after you've cut weight, nothing wants to go down. Your stomach is shrunk from where you dieted. You can't eat. So I think it's hard for people, especially same day weigh-ins, to go out there and fight. I know people do it, and props to them. They're tough as hell. Like, I can't even. I've never done it, so I can't imagine. But I definitely like having a full day.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned that because here in California, I told you our amateur system is same day weigh-ins. For the most part, I don't think people cut drastically to make it. I know there is a couple of guys who have wrestling backgrounds and cut quite a bit of weight in the same day, but it's not typical, I wouldn't say. But yeah, it's definitely, you're dehydrated and stuff. It's not safe to be fighting. I don't feel. You're 4-0 amateur. This is going to be your 5th fight. How many amateur fights do you see yourself having before you turn pro?
If everything goes well, this is probably going to be our last amateur fight. I've talked to my coach about it, and he feels comfortable with me going pro. I feel pretty comfortable going pro. So he said, as long as we go out and perform, win or lose, draw, whatever happens, as long as I perform well, he said, this is going to be the last one. And then he said, as long as we stay healthy, we're going to have a pretty busy 2019. So be looking out for a lot of action for me. Hopefully, maybe 5 or 6 fights this year, maybe even more. You know, if we do a good job of damage control every fight, I could fight every month. I could fight every other month. It just, you know, it depends. We're trying to make it to the UFC, so we're gonna have to obviously take our time. But you know, at the same time, if we can get fights, we're ready to get fights. You know, I'm ready. I'll fight anybody, whenever. I don't care who it is. I don't care where it is.
I know you said you're pretty eager, you know, to keep fighting as long as you're healthy.
Quit. Sit down. Sorry, my dog's running around me and trying to play with me.
No, it's okay.
She is.
Where could the fans connect with you on social media?
So my Twitter is at Caleb Miller _ MMA. My Instagram is just my name, Caleb _ Miller. And then you can I have a fighter page on Facebook. If you just search Caleb Miller, my personal page should pop up, but then there's also a Caleb Miller, and then it'll say MMA fighter next to it. It's a business page, but it's like my fighter page. I shout out sponsors on there. I'll let you guys know when I'm fighting. I'll let you know when I have tickets. It's a good way to keep up with, you know, what I'm doing. I'll post things from where I'm training. So if you want to see like what we're up to training, you guys can check out the fighter page for sure.
Right on. Anyone helping you out for this camp? Any sponsors or training? I know you named some training partners, but
yeah. So my newest sponsor is Vivid Tattoo. My first actual sponsor is Carswell LLC. They've stuck with me literally before I even had a fight. So they've been really cool. Ray PT to you. He's my physical therapist. He will literally come wherever and work on you. He's fairly decent on price too. He does hour sessions for like $100, and he does anything you want. He does the cupping. He does. I did for the first time dry needling, which I'm literally like scared as shit of needles, but he was like, "Trust me, you won't even feel it." And he did it to me, and it felt a little weird at first, but afterwards, it felt amazing. It's supposed to increase blood flow to whatever area, and I had him do it on my knee. My knee was like just sore from working out, and he took him out, and it felt like new. Like couldn't even tell that it was sore before. It was actually insane. Yeah, it was awesome.
All right. Well, I appreciate your time, Caleb Miller, undefeated amateur, about to turn pro. February 1st, Valor Fighting Challenge 55. Thank you.
Hey, man, thank you.